Craig Sexton, Bohemian's under-19s manager. A massive week for the club, although you have been here before in European competitions, so shouldn't be any bother to you.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to be that easy. Yeah, great week. It's nice to test yourselves in European competitions, and it's nice to have these occasions, especially at underage level. We're striving obviously to have them at first team level, and please God we got over the line this year, and it is a massive week for the club, and we're all not forgetting about that as well. Keith has a big game on Friday, and that's always priority. But we do have a European game on Wednesday, which is fantastic, and it's a celebration for the underage league basically, and underage set up in Bohs. So it is a big week.
I alluded to the fact there that you've played in Europe last year. That was against FC Michelin from Denmark, and a side who went on to beat Roma, Manchester United in that competition. And Bohs put them under a really severe test last season. So what do you think you learned from that experience last year?
We learnt loads, and certainly the players will learn loads. We've referenced it a lot over the last week or so. They need to be comfortable with playing in big occasions, and that's what we spoke to them about, and being positive and taking the game to oppositions. So that's what we've looked at. I think it will stand to us. I really do. I think it'll stand to the coaching staff. I think it'll stand to the players from last season. And we take a lot of positives from last year because, as you said, we ran Midgetland close at half time in the home leg. We were going through at that point, and look, we gave away 2 sloppy goals, and that'll be something that we'll reference. I think we all know in European and these types of nights, it's small margins that win and lose games, these types of games. So we need to make sure that we're on the right side of them margins on Wednesday night, and we take something positive to Greece. That's what we're really looking at.
This year you face PAOK Salonika from Greece, and the Greek league really has been on a bit of an upward curve over the last couple of years. What do you know of their young team?
Yeah, they've been really successful over the last number of years in their underage system. They play a 19s league like ourselves, which is sometimes in these types of competitions you can face an under 18s team or 19s team, and in their home league might be a little bit different, but they are a 19s team. As you alluded to, their first team are quite successful over the last number of years, playing in Europe and Champions Leagues and things like that. So they've got really good pedigree. They had 7 players who played in the Greek side who played our under 17 championships in Tala a few months ago. So they've a good calibre of player in their academy. They've a real different type of system. They've a lot of satellite academies throughout Greece as a club. So they've the pick of the bunch basically at the minute. I'm right in saying I think they've lost 3 games in 2 seasons or something like that as a group, so they're really strong. So it's something we're mindful of. We know it's not going to be easy, so we're really going to be up against it, but we are confident because we've got a good group of players, and I believe in them, they believe in each other, and we'll be having a right go at it, and that's the way it'll go. Yeah.
It's not easy, I'm sure, to scout sides like these when you're coming up against these young teams. How much of it is an unknown factor to you? Do you know what system they play, what players to look out for?
Yeah, it's difficult. You're trying to find information by hook or by crook a little bit, and we're lucky we've got information, and we've got games, we've seen them. The boys are prepared right. They know what they're going to potentially be seeing, which is great because it gives us a reference point or something to work towards. That may change on the night, but we'll deal with that. The players are comfortable with being adaptive, but we're looking at ourselves as well a lot, as opposed to really focusing on the opposition. We're focusing on us, and that's what we've done probably for the last week or so. We've got our group games finished in our national league now. We've kind of focused on the European stuff, so it's difficult to get information. Yes, it is, but I think at this level you need to trust your players and trust your own game and trust what you're trying to achieve, and as well as just completely focusing on them.
Do you think they might struggle to get as much information on Bohemian's team?
Yes, I do.
Which is an advantage.
Yes, and we like it that way. I don't think they'll have an awful lot of info on us. I'd like to think if they've contacted someone in our league to get a game, that the club let us know. So I haven't had that phone call yet, which is great. So maybe they don't know anything on us. Maybe they do. We won't know. So maybe the element of surprise will be there. There's probably a lot of element of surprises that could come into play. Daily Mount away changing room is certainly one that will surprise them. The weather when they stepped off the plane last night, I'd imagine, was a massive surprise to them. Obviously it hasn't been great, so we need to make use of being in Daily Mount and being at home and really push that home, because we're at home and the onus is on us to go and win the game, and that's what we're going to look to do.
Now, anybody who's seen the Bohemian senior team playing under Keith Long and Trevor Crowley, they'll see that it's a 4-2-3-1. It's a team that can play in a couple of different ways. They can go long, they can play through the lines. Would there be that kind of similar pattern throughout the age levels at Bohemians?
Yeah, there would be. We wouldn't work off you have to play a certain system of play in the football club. That's something that Keith wouldn't hammer down at everybody. We more work off principles. So he wants the right type of player and has the right values and has the right understanding of the game and has the right principles of how he wants to play the game, as opposed to we have to play a rigid structure that he plays. We don't really work to that, so it would be more principles, and I feel like that's been successful for us. I think you see the players that have broke through, they're all of similar ilk, and that's what we work towards. We try and play football. We're probably lucky or unlucky, depending on what way you look at it, but we probably a small bit more dominant than Keith might be at first team level, because it's just the nature of the beast, and we're quite successful at under 19s level, so we do dominate the ball a lot at under 19 our league games. That may not be the case on Wednesday night, but we do have the ability to mix up our game. When we go up to Finn Harps, we know that we may need to play a different way. When we go down to Corks or whoever we play, the players need to be comfortable, and it's a part of the development and the learning that they're comfortable to play different ways. Because as you said, Keith wouldn't be rigid, wouldn't be absolutely stuck to a system or a style. He can flick in between bits and pieces. So our players need to be comfortable with that as well if they're going to make the step up. So yeah, I'd say we're comfortable with both, but we're going to try and get the ball on the floor on Wednesday night and try and pass it, because we're at home. We need to try and control the game if we can. That may not happen, but that's what we're setting out to do.
Would you obviously speak to Keith quite a lot? You're in contact with him. Would you get specific game advice off him, or is it just kind of a general thing, like for Wednesday night's game? Would you sit down maybe with Keith beforehand, or does he just let you kind of go and do your own thing for these kind of matches?
No, he's fantastic, and the whole first team staff have been brilliant for me, and my 19 staff, they've been absolutely unbelievable. The door is always open. We can speak to them at any point. I only sat on Saturday morning after the boys were in recovering, the first team lads were in recovering, we were training beside them, and I sat with Trevor after training on Saturday morning, and we had a discussion about how we're going about on Wednesday. He was interested to know and was offering some feedback, and we were picking it apart, and I was telling them what we're trying to achieve on Wednesday night. So we train side by side with the first team, so there's constant communication. It wouldn't be a case of where Keith tries to offer advice. If we go and seek it, he lets us play our own way. He doesn't micromanage us. We're our own managers. He won't tell us how to pick a team or what way we should play. But if he feels he can help us, he'll certainly help us. I have an open door for him to come in anytime he wants, and he does half-time in games, before games. If he wants to step in, it's the first team manager. He's the pinnacle for our players at the minute. So they need to be comfortable with him speaking to them, and he does that, and it's fantastic. He creates an unbelievable environment. Keith does, and Trev does, and Benno and the first team staff are fantastic, and it's brilliant for us to have access to that. And as I said, it may not be a formal conversation, but we're seeing a lot of what goes on because we've so much access to the first team. So yeah, we probably feed off them a lot, and our stuff is probably moulded from them a lot subconsciously by just seeing it as opposed to a formal conversation.
You've obviously got a couple of players as well who've managed to get some senior experience this season. I think one of the standout performers has been Ross Tyranny. I did see Ross, I remember, started the game against Shamrock Rovers away at Tallaght Stadium, and he maybe struggled to get into that game, but then a couple of matches later he goes out against Crumlin United in the Cup and put on an absolutely dazzling performance in the middle of the park, and he shows really what he can do. He's a very quick player, he's got a good touch, good eye for a pass. How much does that kind of experience stand to a player like Ross coming into these big games? Yeah,
it's for everybody. It's huge. We're quite lucky that a lot of our players get exposed to the first team in training. Keith takes them in, takes 3, 4, 5 a night into train with them, and so that they're getting exposed to higher level than what we will train at, and it's only natural that's the case. So yeah, but the likes of Ross and Doyle playing these types of games, the Waterford game, the two boys started absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant for us, because when they come back down, their standards are higher naturally enough. They play at a higher level, a higher tempo, whatever it may be, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's brilliant, because it helps drive standards for the rest of the group. The rest of the group see that as something that I want, and I want a taste of that as well. So it's nearly self-policing it themselves, and they all want to have a little bit of the cake then, and they start to drive on a little bit. So, but Ross and Doss have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic this season, along with a lot of other performers who've gone under the radar a little bit, and Ross and Doss have just got the opportunity, and that may be down to injury suspensions that Keith has had the opportunity to throw them in. I think if had it been in different positions, I think other players would have got the opportunity as well. And Keith, me and Keith have spoke about that, and they may have got different opportunities. It's purely down to the luck of the draw of injuries and suspensions that the two boys have got recently, have got a lot more opportunities. But I do believe that we've some fantastic players in the football club, especially underage level, even below us now coming through. It's brilliant, and we're still trying to push them on, and we're lucky that Keith gives them the opportunity, because we can speak a lot about having great players in the football club, and it's great, and they get to 19s and there's a bottleneck, but we're lucky that Keith opens the door and gives them the opportunity. So that's if we don't have that openness for Keith to put them in and to trust them, it's no good having the football players at the club. It's irrelevant at that point then. So we're lucky. I'm extremely lucky. It makes my life easier. So I'm not explaining to them why they're not in. I'm explaining to them that the door is always open. So it's fantastic.
So look, it's there's no excuse really for nobody not to turn up for this match at Dalymount Park. It's free admission. You guys play good football. I've seen some great football myself over in Greece, and they do play a good brand over there generally throughout the clubs. So it should be an entertaining match, and I know you guys want to get as much supporters down there as you can to Dalymount Park on Wednesday night. Yeah,
it's free in, and look, it's an opportunity to see European football at an underage level. We don't really get that opportunity very often, so I think we need to make use of that to see what we're about at Bohs under 19s, and especially a different culture and a different style of play potentially from the Greek side. We need bums on seats. Last year was absolutely fantastic. We had 1,500-1,600 I think at the game, and for the boys it was unbelievable. For their development to play in a European night in front of 1,500 people is invaluable. We can't create that for them. That just happens. So we played Rovers the following week in the cup final up in Tallaght. There was another big crowd at the game, and I firmly believe that the experience that they got from the Wednesday night against Midtjylland stood to them the following week against Rovers, and they became comfortable with the environment, and they performed on the night against Rovers, and I really think that got us over the line because they were comfortable in the environment. So the more you see something, the more comfortable you get. We need bums on seats. We need people getting behind us, and that's the way it is, because it may be difficult at times. I don't know, it may be, and we might need a little kick from the crowd at some point to get us over the line, please God.